That the last round of local government elections in 2020, after the primaries and the elections eventually, a group of persons came up and they came together and formed a kind of forum of aggrieved aspirants. You know, because of how the process went back in 2020, the board forms, most of them were screened out even before the primaries, you know, and others, one way or the other, they lost out and they were aggrieved, counting the cost of buying form, going through screening, the tax clearance, and all of that, consultations. And His Excellency in His wisdom wanted to remove that part because he doesn't want a situation where after the primaries there will be lots of issues within the PDP family, which is one big family. And so in his wisdom he did that. You recall also that even before the process started, he said he was going to give the women the 40% affirmative action that had always been. Most politicians in the past have been talking about. Jonathan came up with it but couldn't practicalize it. But His Excellency came up and said, in the course of the process within the PDP, as the leader of the party, he would want to see a situation where at least 6 women will be nominated as chairmanship candidate from the PDP, and then from all of the local governments, he will also want to see where you have at least 4 women coming up as councillors. And the party was able to manage the process through, and we saw that indeed that was achieved. And in all, when you look at how it has gone, you want to say yes, it has paid off, because one, the process has come and gone. We have not had much issues, even though in politics, granted, from time to time you hear 1 or 2 dissenting voices, but all in all, we want to say it has been a very successful.
Wow, coming from somebody who particularly served at the local government level, you understand the nitty-gritty and the mechanism involving the politics of the local government. Excuse me. Some people have actually hailed the zoning system as in their locality is being upheld, and some people are like, no, in my locality it wasn't upheld to a particular level. Some people have to force themselves to fall into the zoning. It had to came up with the grammatical slogan macro zoning. In your locality, was the zoning sincerely adhered to?
I would want to say yes and no, in the sense that for the chairmanship primaries, for instance, the zoning was clearly upheld.
That's quite interesting when you say yes and no.
Yes.
People are listening.
Yes. For Ntiribum in particular, let me talk about Ntiribum.
Okay.
Because I was involved in the process there. We have 2 major court areas in the local government. We have the Mbiaso court area and the Asan court area. And we have this unwritten code where the chairman usually comes from one court area, while the House of Assembly member comes from the other court area. And today we have that. Before the process started, we already knew in principle that that is what would come out to play. And then, like you said, some wards within Ntiribum felt that they needed to look at microzoning. But historically, we've never really had that issue of microzoning. And so, the eventual winner, the person that emerged as the preferred, came from the area where it was zoned to. And then, she also incidentally comes from one of the new wards created by Akisek. And so you see that even when you want to go into the microzoning thing, it's a new ward that has never produced a chairman. And so, all in all, it went well with that. But when you go down to the councillorship issue in the various wards, I think in Ntiribum, more than 80%, we had zoning done properly. But in 1 or 2 wards, we had that issue where some persons came up with certain sentiments, you know, and then, all in all, when you look at that issue and you want to bring it up in the state, His Excellency as the leader of the party, in his wisdom, gave that policy statement, and he expected it to be implemented. But you know how it works, that most times in politics, the politicians always have their way about some of these things, and that is why we always say things are sorted out politically. And so, for Ntiribum, I'll say 80% it was observed. And in virtually all the other local government, you have that skirmish here and there. it's to be expected when you have an election cycle like this.
So what you're saying from your perspective, it means that the process for you to have gotten that should be an A plus, right? 80%.
Yes.
That should be an A plus. If you've got A plus, that means
That's it.
yeah, it was a beautiful process. I mean, so every little tiny frayed nerves can always be.
We should be expected.
Yes, can always be calm. Because as Quincy, I've not seen him for quite a long time, and I feel we should just run through a whole lot of things, which we are going to do there. We are STEM permits, so we're going to run through a whole lot of things, because I know you'll be so involved with the grassroots level. Now, the party, PDP, had their chapter chairman election, affirmation, whichever grammatical expression will give it validity as we speak. It was done over the weekend. Now, it also boils down to the zoning issue, where inclusivity is the watchword. I'm going to be particular with you. In your local government, did it play out positively?
Yes, it did. In Slibum, again, you know, like I always refer back to His Excellency. In his wisdom, these things were done well ahead of time. He brought the stakeholders together, and they looked at the zoning arrangement, they looked at the various stakeholders that were interested, and they came together. And in Slibum, for instance, today we have the incoming chapter chairman, Honorable Godwin Nathaniel, who is from the Asankot area, the rightful place where the chairmanship, the party chairmanship slot had been zoned to, because the outgoing Honorable Nsikaribe had done 2 terms from the Asankot area. So that was clearly done as we expected. All the other positions, the secretary, the vice chairman, the youth leader, women leader, and all of that, stakeholders came together. And the way we normally do it in the local government, you share. And then you also look at the various wards and make sure that all of the wards are represented in key positions. And so we don't really have any issue in Slibum. And in my federal constituency as well, 18 federal constituency, to be honest with you, I have not really heard of any real serious issue in any of the local governments there. And it is all thanks to the wisdom and the foresight of His Excellency, making sure that these things were done.
Hold your thought, that thing can go. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from, please. Hello, I can hear you. What's your name and where you're calling us from? Alright, now your name, please. Go ahead, please. Okay, you want to do a program. Okay. If you know the office, you can go to the WhatsApp, drop your name, drop your details. Can you listen to me, please? Drop your concerns, your details on this number 0809 066 6909. Did you take that number? 0809 It is not 0808, please. It's 0809 066 6909. You can send your concerns there and they'll attend to you. Thank you. Quincy, back to you, please. So we're talking about how it was evenly spread across. Like I said, yes, we're going to run through a whole lot of things with you, because it's like, wow, we've got a lot of catching up to do. Now, with what has happened with the PDP in Akwa Ibom State and the local government elections, being shifted from October 25th now to October 5th, right? With what has happened so far, what's your assessment? Do you think the PDP in Akwa Ibom State is ready to go for that election against any other party that might put up their own candidates?
To start with, I want to say that the adjustment of the time schedule has nothing to do with the PDP. That's exclusively the role of AKISE. But for PDP, the party came up with its own schedule when the notice of election was given by AKISE, and sold forms, did their screening, they have gone through the primaries, and I think earlier this week the candidates of the party got their forms and filled their forms and submitted, and we're expecting that their details will soon be published by AKISE. And so PDP is more than ready for the elections, and the way it has gone already, you see that this is a party that is well organized, well coordinated, and with clear plans. That is why we could go through the primaries at the very grassroots levels, and you've not heard of so much issues where people would, like it has always been during the election cycle, people breaking up, going to other parties, going to radio, print media, criticizing and coming up with issues. We don't have much of that, because both His Excellency the Governor, who is the leader of the party, and the state chairman of the party himself, Right Honorable Enquiry, they have done so marvelously in managing all of these processes that the PDP in Akwa Ibom State remains one big family that is well knitted together.
Well, I think those PDP people are excited to hear that. Now, if you're just joining us, it's still back by the PATRYK EDEKE on Memories 96.5 FM. Remember, like I said earlier at the beginning of this program, you could be a part of this program by dialing the number 0803 085 7755. This program is being streamed live on Facebook on our Facebook handles Memories 965 FM. You can also drop your comment there, an opinion on what we're talking about. Hold on, I think we've got a call here. Hello. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from? Mr. Oliver, please could you move away from your radio? The holdback is affecting the reception. Hello, go ahead, but please move away from your radio set. The holdback is affecting your reception. Okay, go ahead. Alright, go ahead, Mr. Oliver. Thank you, Oliver. What a call. Hello, good morning. Oh, we've lost that, right? Mr. Quincy, you heard Mr. Oliver there from if you know you've got another call. Hello, good morning. Please, your name and where you're calling us from. Okay.
Good morning, bro.
Go ahead. The candidate or the aspirants, whichever one is applicable for the position of councillorship, and with that, because that's for chairman as well. What's your take on that?
Mr. EDEKE, you seem to be well versed with the process.
And because I know what happened in my ward. The stakeholders had a meeting, and then all the aspirants were put together. In fact, under the leadership of Right Honorable Chief Evian Johnson, who is a member representing Umbo state constituency, he put them together and asked them to vote for one person and vote for themselves. Vote for yourself and vote for one person. It was an election between them, and the person that emerged from my ward was the person that pulled the highest vote. So I don't know how it was done in other ward in Enquiry State, but see, I cannot sit down here and discountenance somebody's opinion. That's why I'm asking you, as somebody who's been involved in local government politics and polity, if Mr. Oliver is saying that it wasn't done in his local government, I want to know, is he skewing away from what the party had directed?
I want to start by sympathizing with Mr. Oliver. He got form, did the tax clearance, went through the process, and it could be painful, you know, when you go through all of those processes and eventually you are not considered.
But they were asked, they've gone through the processes and the stakeholder, only in on one person.
Because of the excitement and sometimes desperation, some of the aspirants went ahead of the schedule of the party. And like he said, if my ears don't fail me, he mentioned that the stakeholders, the world leader and others, went together and picked somebody to a hotel. But I also heard him talk of the field, which means there was a field. I think that should be the ward center, and people went out.
Yes.
You know, in my own ward, we did something similar. It's a selection process, more or less, and that is in the wisdom of the leader of the party, His Excellency, Governor Moeno. So, if for him, Mr. Oliver, unfortunately, the stakeholders did not deem it fit for him to be considered this time, I want to tell him he should not be too downcast. There will be other opportunities. If not councillor, the umbrella is large enough to cover lots of interests. And now that we are expecting me at the top tier, I think there will be lots of provision to accommodate, especially the PDP faithfuls, those who went through these processes and could not emerge. So let him remain as a loyal PDP member as he has always been, knowing that when you go for any contest, 2, 3, 4 person aspirants coming in, it will only one person will emerge, not all. But you know that if it were to be you expect others to rally around you. And so I want to encourage you to support whomever has emerged and know that there will always be other opportunities.
We've got a call. Hold your thought there. Hello, good morning. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from, please. So, oh, Mr. Oliver. Mr. Oliver. Okay, go ahead. Okay. You can go ahead. Quincy, another person calling from the same word, and I mean collaborating Mr. Oliver's story. What do you still think might have played out at that ward 9 in your neighborhood?
I truly sympathize with him, really, because like this second caller said, that is a person living with disability, you know, and so
person living with special ability.
Special, rather. Thank you for that correction. And so, for someone like that to go through the process, buy the form, and the expression of interest from go through the tax clearance, I think is someone to be considered. During the recently concluded chapter congresses, there was this provision for people like that to go for the National Congress, and usually you go to the National Congress and come back. At least you expect something to come back with you. And so I would want to think that somebody like that who aspired, went through the process, should have been considered, except if he didn't go about it the right way. Like I've said, it is to be expected when you aspire along with others. You just know that it could be you, it could be someone else. The whole process was managed by the leadership of the ward, and so if for whatever reason the leadership didn't deem it fit to consider him for that position, I think he should accept it. It was a selection process, not an election process. But probably himself and some of his supporters did not fully understand the process, and that is why they were expecting that material should have come to the field and people should actually come and stand and vote and the vote be counted. All of that was to be micromanaged because it was expected that even before that day, someone had already been nominated.
But I mean, let me play the devil's advocate here. Even if it was done, because like I want to use my own local government, it was still done at where it's supposed to be done. I don't know, in your local government, was it taken to a hotel?
That is an allegation.
Yes, that's why I said, let me play the devil's advocate here. Allegedly, he said they were taken to a hotel, not where they were in your local government.
I think
in your local government, was it taken to a hotel?
No, it couldn't have been taken to an hotel.
All right, going forward, like we said, the second person, Andy James, he talked about somewhere close to you, and you heard his concern. I mean, what do you think, what's your response to that?
I think the second person...
Okay, just hold your thought there. Let's do this call. Hello. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from, please. Who? Okay, it is. Okay, go ahead. Okay, we've heard you. We've heard you. Thank you. Then. Okay, let's go on. All right. Hello. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from, please. Go ahead. No, God's will. Calm down with the allegation. Just down, yeah. You don't want police. God's will. But that also was up. You don't want allegation at all. You understand? You cannot prove those allegations. These allegations, okay, just like you're saying, the processes according to you were not adhered to. At least, I mean, that is healthy enough because of radio ethics. Thank you. Yes, sir.
And additionally,
okay, thank you, Godswill. Mr. Quincy, you had Godswill.
Yes.
The people of Hotline are really not excited about the process. I don't know. Just like you said, is it that they didn't get the memo?
I think first of all, most of the callers have been people that are sympathetic to Mr. Oliver.
Yes.
And then, like I've said, politics, especially at the grassroots, most people don't seem to understand. His Excellency sang it more or less, cautioning before going. Like it has been said, why I think it's really very painful is because of the circumstance of Mr. Oliver and probably the way it was managed. Or you have given us an example of how it was managed in your ward, but you want to know that all of these ward leaders don't have the same experiences, the same exposure, the same training, and so they come in with their own unique styles. Some may not be able to really bring everybody together and get them to agree. So maybe that is what played out in.
All right, let's move forward. Now, you picked something that was very interesting while we're talking. You mentioned the autonomy process, and it struck a chord. Why is it struck a chord? Because with what is happening right now, playing out at the local government level, with the autonomy at our doorstep, it is pertinent to know the managers. Oh, we've got another call. I hope it's not from the. Hello, good morning. Yes, good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from? From where? Ika.
Mr. Edeke, let me say something there. I notice Mr. Oliver has a lot of supporters and sympathizers to encourage them. Democracy in Nigeria, local government chairmen used to have this autonomy, so to say, but they mismanaged it, where you have backlog of primary school teachers, primary health workers, pensions over the years because it was not properly managed. And so the state local government joint account came to bear in order to checkmate those things, where when this will go out to take care of those things. I don't want to think that with the autonomy that we're looking at, that all of those things will be swept under the carpet. I believe there will be a way where you have reasonable autonomy, but at the same time it will be managed in such a way that it doesn't get out of hand. And then when you also want to look at the quality of the candidates that PDP has produced, I think we have a number of the candidates who have already displayed their capabilities. I want to use my local government chairman, the Deaconess Otobomiro, as a case study. She's more or less like the poster girl in Enquiry State right now. When we talk about local government chairman, she did very well, first as acting chairman and eventually as transition chairman. And you recall that His Excellency once or twice ago, he really commended her for what she did, keying into his Arise agenda vision in agriculture, in infrastructure, and he even commended her for having that completion spirit that he himself has, because of going in to complete a project, a significant project in the council, a building for an office complex that was built by the past administration. After several chairmen had come and gone without completing that project, she went in, and His Excellency came and saw it. I was very impressed with him. And he has also commended a number of other transition chairmen, of which most of them made it through in the course of the primaries that just took place. A tenant, we have Ukomo, who also did reasonably well. Someone called earlier in the program and commended Ini Uma in the local government. So we have a number of chairmen who had been given opportunity and they did well. And for the new ones that are coming in too, we want to believe that they will take a cue from what their colleagues have done.
Okay, if you're just joining us, it's still back for the PATRYK EDEKE on Memories 96.5 FM. I'm not here alone. I'm here with Honorable Quincy Upong, who is a management consultant and public affairs analyst. He's also the East-Wal supervisor for health and social services in the city local government area. This is still back for PATRYK EDEKE on Memories 96.5 FM. Remember, you can be part of this conversation if you just dial the number 0803-085-7755, or alternatively, like I like to say, you can send out the WhatsApp message on 0809-066-6909. This program is streamed live on our Facebook handle, Memories 965 FM. You can also go there, drop your comment and opinion while we read them out there for the listening public. Now, Honorable Quincy, like I said, I've not seen you for quite some time. Another call. Hello. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from? Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from, please. Go ahead, comrade. Thank you, Comrade Prince. We're going to talk about, like I said, I've not seen it for quite some time now, so we're just going to run through your homes online. It's the protest, the 10 days protest that was supposed to take place in Nigeria. Vis-a-vis what happened in Enquiry. I'd like to come back to Enquiry. In Enquiry, it was relatively quiet, even though people who were in Lagos were busy asking people to protest. But people of Enquiry refused. What do you attribute that to?
I want to attribute it to the excellent management of the economy in Akwa Ibom State by His Excellency, Pastor Omoino. Yes, the federal government came up with a number of hard economic policies, particularly the removal of the subsidy and then the exchange rate, which really affected the economy. But since His Excellency came in, you have seen him coming up with people-centric projects, programs, policies that has impacted. It's not about the media stuff. People see them. He came up with the housing scheme for the less privileged, most of the women to their properties. He also came up with the bulk purchase scheme, where it has helped, not totally taken away hunger, but it has reasonably ameliorated the hunger down to the grassroots, the people, the very downtrodden, the poorest of the poor. You know, the governor has come up with so many projects, programs. Not too long ago, he also gave about 400 persons startup grants to start after going through the training process. And right now, another 800 or so are in the process of enrolling for that same program. And so, when you want to look at the governor's policy, is it the agriculture, like we said when he came to Nsilibo, we saw tomato, maize, cassava, and all of that. And the same with in the local government, the chairmen in these local governments have keyed into their RISE agenda. You know, the first alphabet there, A, stands for agriculture. Farm inputs from the Ministry of Agriculture, we're expecting bumper harvest this year, and so the youths in Akwa Ibom State, and the governor has really involved the youths. You look at the bulk of his appointments, you look at what he has done with the transition in council and then the incoming chairman. You see that more than 85 or 90% of the incoming chairman and councillors are all young people. And so when the government accommodates as many young persons as can be in the system, and also even in the academic sector, the students, the governor came in immediately. He had an essay for students and even essay for students with challenges. Coming in with the bursary within the first 1 year in office, he paid bursary of 10,000 naira to how many thousand students from Akwa Ibom. So I want to think that all of these policies have had direct positive impact on the youths and the people generally, and that in a way has made the people in Akwa Ibom State to decide to want to give the governor some more time to be able to implement most of these projects. You see that in some places where this protest was taken very seriously, it has really derailed the policies of the government, destruction, and most of this destruction, looting, and the rest that took place, and even the effect from the police trying to resist, has dragged the activities in those states backwards. But thank God the youths were willing to understand with His Excellency. His Excellency had a meeting with them some few days to that protest, the beginning of that protest, and they unanimously agreed to cooperate with him. And afterward, in appreciation, what did he do? He came up and said the money that would have been used to repair the imagined damages that would have taken place, he will still plunge it back, particularly for programs that has to do with the youth. What better way would His Excellency manage the situation?
Well, when I hear stuff like this, I cannot think, because I was wondering, I was also wondering why the youths were relatively calm in Akwa Ibom State, and I discovered that as we speak, 15 youths are being trained at the prestigious Airbus Flight Academy in Angoulême in France, and we've got another about 3 of them in the aviation school in Zaria. Now, with His Excellency's concentration on, because I recall during the campaign when they say build the youth, they say no, we've been building the youth for years. It is time to start roofing the youth. Is His Excellency, with all these programs, 800 beneficiaries, 500,000 naira startup grant. Now you've got these chair ladies who are ladies in campaigns. Now they are all now started their training, where they are going to be earning about. They're going to get a startup grant of 750,000 naira. With this, is His Excellency roofing the youth?
Indeed, he is. He's completing the building, not just roofing the roof. So the average youth in Akwa Ibom would just look towards, if all of this has been done within the first 1 year of His Excellency, and he still has 3 years to go. So you see that he has done so much. He has really, and the interesting thing is, with all of what he has done for the youth, he has done likewise for the elderly. He has done for the women.
Yeah, you know, we're actually looking at why the youths in Akwa Ibom State refused to join that melee. You know, so I was like, okay, a lot of people have asked the question, Patrick, why did the youth in your state refuse to join? And when I start talking to them about it, they were like, Now I want to hear from another person who is not me. That's why I'm like, why did they? What's your state of mind? Is it because His Excellency had done all these things prior before the protest? Did they have the inkling as somebody who has some connection to divinity to have seen ahead and do all these things for the youth before even they were thinking about mobilizing themselves for protest? Or is it that His Excellency is just imbued with this technical know-how of managing the youth and managing the economy that these things are happening?
I think it's a summation of all of what you have said and more. He has led the state with empathy, with that human touch and feelings, and he has been able to connect. That's the key word. He has connected with the youths in this state, where
we've got a call. Hold your thought there. We'll come back to you. Hello. Good morning. Yes. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from, please. Okay. Go ahead.
My name is Wisdom.
All right, Wisdom. Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead, Wisdom.
Let me comment there, my brother.
Okay, Wisdom, we've heard you. We've discussed that issue. You've given your opinion on it, and then they should act on it. We're not going to, because definitely running out of time, and that's why we need to round up. And I'm going to give you 1 minute to round up. So far, so good. For the time you've not been here in this studio, and with the activities that has gone on around and the things we have discussed, summarize it in one minute.
I want to say that Akwa Ibom State has been blessed with the year we've had in Pastor Moore Basena. He has come with wisdom, he has come with a vision, he has come with empathy, he has come with a love for the people, and he has demonstrated it. He demonstrates it every day in the way he leads the state, in the way he leads the people. He has been able to reach out to touch the people in where they feel it the most. And that is why we're enjoying the relative peace that we can feel and experience in Akwa Ibom State. Also, the economy within the state. Yes, things are difficult, no doubt about that. But when you compare what is happening in this state with neighboring state, you see that we can feel the direct impact of what His Excellency has been doing in this state in the last 1 year.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Quincy Ukpong. Honorable Quincy Ukpong is the management consultant and public affairs analyst. He is also the historical supervisor for health and social service in City local government area. The phone lines are still ringing, but I'm afraid we'll not be able to pick those calls yet because Sharon is already looking at me from what we call sad eye. She's siding me that I should leave the studio by now. So it's been a memorable time with you guys out there. It's still PATRYK EDEKE on Memories 96.5 FM. My name is PATRYK EDEKE.